Imagine this. For 1 hour, every single light on Earth suddenly goes dark. No streetlights, no glowing windows, no city skylines, just darkness. Sounds like the perfect way to save energy, right? But what if switching off the lights actually made things worse? And what if one hidden consequence could trigger problems nobody saw coming? For more than a century, humanity has been building a world powered by electricity. Look around. Your phone, your computer, your refrigerator, traffic systems, public transportation. Almost everything depends on power. Now imagine billions of people participating in one giant Earth hour at exactly the same moment. At first, the idea sounds brilliant. Less electricity means less pollution. Less pollution means less climate change. Simple. Or is it? Here's the shocking part. Humanity consumes an unbelievable amount of electricity every single hour. Enough energy to send a gas-powered car to Pluto and back. Twice. And nearly 1/5 of that energy goes toward lighting alone. That's a massive amount of power. And because most electricity still comes from fossil fuels, every light bulb switched on contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. So if the entire planet turned off its lights together, wouldn't carbon emissions instantly drop? It seems obvious. But that's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Because the darkness itself isn't the biggest problem. What happens during the next 60 minutes is. And what happens after those 60 minutes changes everything. So the lights go out. Cities fade into darkness. Skylines disappear. And for a brief moment, humanity uses less electricity than usual. Mission accomplished? Not exactly. Because many people wouldn't sit quietly in the dark. They'd reach for candles. And this is where it gets weird. Candles may feel natural and eco-friendly, but they're incredibly inefficient. In fact, a traditional candle can be around 100 times less efficient than a modern light bulb. And yes, candles release carbon dioxide too. Suddenly, the simple solution isn't looking so simple anymore. But that's not even the craziest part. Let's say everyone avoids candles completely. Surely emissions would drop then, right? Wrong. Because power plants don't behave the way most people imagine. Electric grids are carefully balanced systems. They constantly match supply with demand. When billions of lights switch off simultaneously, power stations reduce output. But then comes the real challenge. 1 hour later, billions of people switch their lights back on at exactly the same moment. A massive surge of demand slams into the electrical grid. Power plants scramble to respond. Additional generators may need to start rapidly. And those emergency responses often burn even more fuel, meaning some of the carbon savings could disappear almost instantly. But here's the strange part. If the surge becomes too extreme, certain power grids could struggle to cope. In a worst-case scenario, sections of the network could fail. And then Earth hour wouldn't last 1 hour. It could last days. And that's when the experiment stops being symbolic and starts becoming dangerous. Now picture the world after a large-scale blackout. No glowing cities. No illuminated highways. No artificial light stretching across the horizon. For the first time in decades, millions of people look up. And what they see is breathtaking. The Milky Way, a river of stars hidden above us all along. Today, light pollution prevents roughly 1/3 of humanity from ever seeing it. Entire generations grow up beneath skies where the stars have practically vanished. But during a true global blackout, the universe would return. And that's the twist nobody expects. The biggest thing we'd gain isn't lower emissions. It's perspective. Because while darkness reveals the stars, it also reveals something else. Turning off the lights isn't enough to solve climate change. The real challenge lies deeper. In how electricity is produced. In how energy is consumed. And in the choices we make every day. Replacing inefficient bulbs. Using cleaner energy. Reducing unnecessary consumption. Taking public transportation. Those actions create lasting change. Not a single dramatic hour of darkness. But here's the question that lingers. What if humanity's greatest environmental problem isn't how much energy we use, but how disconnected we've become from the consequences of using it? Maybe the stars disappeared from our skies for a reason. Maybe they vanished so gradually that we never noticed. And if 1 hour of darkness can reveal what we've lost, what else might we discover if the lights stayed off just a little longer? And that mystery remains unanswered.